Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Looks like Conor Benn is counting on, shocking the world the way Liam Smith did by getting a big KO over Eubank Jr. However, he's looking to do what he's saying, much worse to Eubank Jr. than what Smith did. Now, the thing is, Eubank Jr. has always been hailed for having a good chin. His dad trained him to be an absolute beast. But, since leaving his pops, he chose to do some things his way. I personally think he should have stayed with his dad, but only he knows why he and his dad split. But the bottom line is, to see him go down when he faced Liam Smith, that shocked a lot of people. Now, I'll tell you, him working with Roy Jones, I never liked that pairing. But he was in the ring trying to fight like Roy Jones and play around, and he ended up getting caught. Now, he did have some success against Liam Smith, but then in the fourth round, he got hit with a pretty hard shot that hurt him, and then Liam Smith, whether y'all want to admit it or not, he clipped him with an elbow. It was the elbow that did the most damage, but he did get hit and get hurt. Now, Smith came out here and was talking about, look, the vicious flurry that I put on Eubank Jr. and crumpled him. Conor Benn's gonna have to. He's gonna have to, just really jump on him and put it on him in order to replicate a victory similar or much better than mine. Even though 8 months later, Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith rematched, and Eubank Jr. put the beans on Liam Smith and got the victory. But I'm telling you, Liam Smith was able to kind of pick moments. And Eubank Jr. had a lot of success against Liam Smith, but I think he was playing in there and he wasn't focused. The difference here is I don't think Conor Benn is experienced enough to know how to pick his moments. I think Conor Benn is just going to depend on his engine and his work rate and try to bum rush Eubank Jr. Now, Liam Smith recognized that Eubank Jr. wasn't the fighter that he used to be years ago, and he knew there was a big difference in size. Liam Smith, 154-pounder, Eubank Jr., 168, fought at 160. But he feels that with Conor Benn, he's going to have to pick his moments but put his punches together. He's got to put his punches together, and he's got to not just fight and burst, but be smart about where he chooses to let his hands go. He says there's no way in the world Conor Benn's going to win a fight trying to throw one or two shots at Eubank Jr. He's going to have to cut that ring off and just converge on him and maul him. And I do think he needs to go straight Ricardo Mayorga, go Rolly Romero on him, and make it ugly. If not, Chris Eubank Jr., I think he's just going to dissect him and pull away. I do not think Chris Eubank Jr. is going to showboat in that ring. I don't think he's going to do that. But if there is some showboating because Chris Eubank Jr. is having success, or even Conor Benn is showboating, that could be their way to buy themselves some rest. A lot of time you see fighters do things that kind of hard for us to understand. It's because they're tired. And when they start showboating, that's when you jump on them. Don't give them an opportunity to recover. Jump on them and keep putting it on them. So I do think this fight is going to come down to conditioning more than anything. I think Eubank Jr. has times where he has his chin in the air. He's much taller. Conor Benn's going to have to kind of punch up. But then Eubank Jr., I think the uppercut is going to be important. Eubank Jr. throwing the uppercut. But Conor Benn, he's going to have to get close. And he's just going to have to go all out, man. I just don't know if Conor Benn can fight like Liam Smith. Liam Smith and the Smith brothers, all them boys can fight. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out. If you listen to Conor Benn's dad, Nigel, he'll tell you that Conor Benn has all the strength advantages, conditioning advantage, and the technical advantages over Eubank Jr. I don't know if that's the case, but I'll say with the discrepancy with Eubank Jr.'s weight and missing weight, the fact that he has to deal with a second-day weigh-in and a 10-pound rehydration clause, those are things that could definitely give Ben more confidence. And if he is able to get in there, man, and land some hard shots on Eubank Jr.'s chin, he although he's a smaller guy, he could end up having some success that I didn't expect, and there's a lot of things that could come into play. And I just think that cutting that weight for Eubank Jr. is going to play a big part as far as Conor Benn having some success. But at the same time, I'll say, look, when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr., I wouldn't be surprised if he went in there, and I think it'd be the uppercut to hurt and knock out Conor Benn. But now it's a much closer fight than what it was before because of Chris Eubank Jr. obviously struggling to get from 10 to get from 160.2 pounds to 160.05. That's crazy. And he just couldn't get that 0.5 off. I don't know why he ain't just take off his underwear, cover up his shit, try to anyway, and the towel around him and make the weight. Maybe he did, I don't know. But man, 500,000. I don't know what the rules were, like $500,000 a pound. But if it was just 500,000 for coming in over, why not just come in to fight at 165? You know what I'm saying? Were you comfortable to try to have a near-death experience to make weight just to miss it? I just think that's crazy. Anyway, very close fight. Conor Benn, he feels like the stars are just lining up for him to get a big KO. And he's wearing the horse padding gloves and everything. I still think Eubank Jr. can pull it off, but man, the fight's gotten a lot closer than what it was, and even Liam Smith is saying, look, Conor Benn can do it if Eubank Jr. still displays those bad habits that he's showing in the ring with me. I'm going to tell you, I don't think Eubank Jr. is going to do that. His trainer, Jonathan Banks, he's no nonsense. Roy Jones was more of a showman, all into entertainment and bullshitting. That's not what's going on here with Eubank Jr. and Jonathan Banks. Anyway, y'all keep cool in the breeze.